So this is kind of a little miniature interview with some of the cast for Shattered Heaven Midnight Twilight. The trailer that you just watched. Originally, this trailer was supposed to be released during Comic Con's weekend, but little animation things were going on, and it got pushed back a bit to make sure it was higher quality. So I decided, hey, why not? Let's have a little interview with some of the main characters in this cast as an extra for it. So I have with me Greg Nugent, professional voiceover artist, just getting into the industry. And by getting into the industry, I mean he's starting with little indie projects here and there. Greg, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name's Greg Nugent. No relation to Ted. I just want to get that out of the way first.
Okay.
I'm also the voice of Stephen Novus, Adam's character's brother in the movie.
Okay, and are there any projects that you would like to let whoever's listening or watching this know?
I play Gabriel in Dreamcatcher. I also play the protagonist in one of the Slenderman Claustrophobia games. Slenderman Shadow game, Claustrophobia. And also trying to think of a few others that really just leap out at me right now, but the names are escaping me, so can't really. I used to be the voice of Chris Priscilla in the Shattered Heaven series, but Adam saw
the
fit
animated
to make
series.
me Stephen Novus. So
Chris Priscilla is now British in the series. So when the animated series comes back with episode 5, there's gonna be kind of a big shift.
Just like,
You're like, wait a minute.
Oh, hey guys, my name's Chris Priscilla. How you all doing today?
Wow, what was that?
It was terrible, I know.
That was horrible. So yeah, and we also have Natalie Van Sistine with us, another professional voice actress who's just getting into the industry as well. Has a lot of background in sound design and a creator.
The Elysium Project is my original audio drama series, which should be rebooting soon.
I've actually heard about that.
It's my baby. I don't recommend listening to what currently exists.
I love how she says that
because it got kind of terrible.
When we all started out, I mean,
she has an interesting definition of kind of terrible. Because it's really not terrible at all. But from a creator standpoint, I understand what she means. Shattered Heaven Midnight Twilight is a sequel novel, a sequel to the first novel, Sins of the Soul. And it is anime-esque art style. And I will admit, seeing animes and having movies was what inspired me to do this. But different from anime movies is this movie's actually canon.
Unlike all the Dragon Ball Z movies and whatnot.
Unlike any movie in an anime, this is actually canon. It's not detrimental for you to see it to understand what's going on in the books,
but it's really cool.
But it's very cool, and it does tie in, and it'll make certain things that happen in the second book a little more. Oh wow, I see how that worked and what happened. So this is a canon project. So what's really cool about it? So this takes place. Was it a year or is it 2 years?
I think you said it was like 2 years after the events.
It's 2 years. Novel. It's 2 years after the events in Sins of the Soul. So the main character, the characters like Adam and Steven and like
that's
Caleb
me.
And all that have grown up, and I'm not gonna explain the end of the first book because people should go buy it. So anyway, Midnight Twilight. It's 2 years after the first book. I suggest buying the first book. Heck, it's only $3 on
buy
Amazon
it.
right
We're not
now.
mugging. We're not asking
Kindle,
for money
buy
here.
It.
Just
Seriously.
buy the book.
If you buy it, buy it. Reference you listen to this interview for the movie, and I'll send you the original soundtrack for nothing. Because I'm awesome like that, and such. So anyway, Midnight Twilight. The premise for this is there is. You know what? I'm not even gonna do it.
Yeah, let's.
We're still. I'm not. I'm gonna let Natalie, because her character is more or less the main focal point of this movie. We're still recording the script, and we're still clearly still animating.
Yes. So, Captain Commander Rollins, you want to fill in on what's going on?
Yeah.
Again.
Low again.
No. Oh.
We didn't say anything. It was like that the last time too. We didn't say anything. We're just like, oh, it'll be recording fine on.
Because it wasn't that bad.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Captain Commander Rollins, you want to fill us in, or fill in the audience, or whoever is listening?
On the extensive history that I, of course, know everything about.
Of your character, because I mean, the movie's based on is your character's focal point, so you can, by now, I would assume that you have a decent
Give a premise.
Oh, you mean
dear.
like just that introduction scene?
Okay.
I got that for a minute there. I thought you wanted me to talk about the entire history.
Yes,
of the
tell us
book
your
or something
entire
like that.
history.
I was
We're
like,
gonna go get a glass of wine and be like,
No, I'm not that mean.
okay. Well, my character kind of.
Do you even know who your own character is?
Yes, I do. I am in the process of thinking how to word it. Thank you.
I'm your
You're
superior
being
officer.
mean
I'm
and
supposed to be.
unappreciative and.
He is kind of a prick in the movie.
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just be like, I'm your
Well, I was
superior
gonna say
officer. I'm supposed to
that,
be a dick.
Oh, don't worry. We've come up with a couple
Of
other.
course
we
you
did.
did. Like Batman.
Shut up. No Batman. Okay.
But no, the movie starts out with my character and her team getting into this really unfortunate situation. I don't know how much
No, I
to
think that
spoil.
describes
I
it
think
the
is
best,
more
to
of
be honest.
the main problem. Okay. So that's why I'm trying to be a little choosier with my words. So I'm not like, these things happen because this needs to happen. And but yeah, so at the beginning of it, I'm getting sent on sort of a
You're sort of a bitch in the beginning.
yeah.
I mean, can I hear Adam losing his breath in the background?
So,
It's just funny how to say it. He's like, you're kind of a bitch in the beginning. As opposed to the
yes,
end.
the entire story is about how I start off as a bitch and become less of a bitch.
and for those listening, this is called character growth and development.
I mean, as
They
I've said
happen.
before, and I love working with a cast that picks on each other, makes fun of each other, because in the end, we all really love each other somehow.
Yeah, and tolerate. It's pretty
Yeah,
much the
that
same
too.
I don't know. There's some of us that question that.
thing. Now.
And for the life of me, I can't think of there was like some word I was trying to use, and I think that's what I got hung up on. I couldn't think of the right word, and then it was driving me crazy.
No, it's clearly not bitch. Clearly, it's not bitch. She goes through a trauma.
And I think I just peaked the mic.
That's a
I'm a prick, I know.
You really are.
I'm so in character right now.
Not really. He doesn't laugh that much.
I laugh on the inside.
Yeah, you do. All right. Well, okay. You have Amber. It's easier for me to.
Yeah, you wrote it. You tell the story.
Well, yeah, but you know, I like getting actor input on the characters that they play, which that's all right. I'll be forcing you guys to do that later anyway.
Shit.
Yeah, deal with it. It makes you sound more professional.
All right.
And it makes me sound more professional because I have a project that people know. I don't know. It makes sense in my head. So the movie, like I said, it's 2 years after the first book, and what happens is I don't mind the beginning of the movie being spoiled a bit because it's not really.
It's the beginning of the movie.
It's the beginning of the movie. It's so Amber starts off. Amber's team are coming back from a mission like on Mars. They just were dealing with an objective, and now they're heading back, and they're basically being trailed by
Lad Russo.
Lad Russo, basically. So Lad Russo. All right, for those of you who don't know Lad Russo, go watch the anime Baccano.
One of the best animes ever made.
I will be honest. As I was writing this script, I was in the middle of Baccano, and
had you seen it before doing that?
Before I wrote the script, no.
Oh wow.
No,
you are like 4 or 5 years behind.
Yeah, I was really behind. I watched Baccano last year for the first time. So anyway, one of the antagonists of the movie is following this team.
He's actually really not an antagonist when you think about it, but that's beside the point. Continue.
He's an antagonist to Amber, technically, but he's not really. He's just kind of.
I thought you meant Lad. Never mind. I'll shut up.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about Lad Russo. Anyway, the main villain in the movie is chasing them, and stuff goes wrong, stuff happens, and then it switches to maybe I think like a few months after that whole event happened, and Amber is being held in kind of captivity from the alliance military that she's a part of, and being interrogated sort of, and being questioned, and giving a chance to go back to Mars to more or less redeem herself.
Redemption, that was the word. I'm sorry.
I just hear in the background, redemption, that was the word.
Alright, so if you have the word in your head now, and I basically said what could be spoiled, you can by all means continue on with the premise of your character. Redemption, that's what I meant.
I was like, okay, I feel like this would be a whole lot easier to describe if I could think of the word that I'm trying to base the entire thought around. I'm clearly having one of those days.
It happens. It's a Sunday.
Yeah, so... Yeah, So I guess the movie is basically her kind of coming to terms with what happened and getting a chance to redeem herself.
Yeah, that's just basically what the movie is. When you break it down, that is, and this, like I said, if you read the first novel, this movie is a very good tie-in to the first book, and it the events that happen with Amber mirror what happened to Adam Novus in the first book, in a sense, and it gives Adam a chance to see what he went through from the outside, because he went through this stuff in the first book, and he went through all the emotions, and he had other people kind of support him as best they could, and blah blah blah. So, and now he comes into this movie 2 years after, and he's kind of puts himself into a position to act as kind of like a counselor, more or less, or give advice and try and keep Amber from kind of going off the wrong path. And like Greg mentioned so subtly, she's kind of a bitch in the beginning of the movie. She's kind of like, I don't want any of this crap that you have to offer.
And then I come in and change her mind.
Not really. You're just kind of like there figuring out what the hell you're supposed to do.
Well, that's how I usually am in life anyway.
Yeah, more or less. So this is what's cool. It's like, this is a mecha movie, but it's like I enjoy the action part, but I'm the type of writer who I like to emphasize character development as much as I possibly can, and I want to tell a story that has some meaning and has some depths and can be relatable to someone, or someone can relate to it. And I remember my dad actually asked me this question not too long ago, rather recent actually, and I didn't know how to answer it at first. He asked me, he's like, well, what's the point? I'm like, what do you mean, what's the point? He's like, you want to do these stories and do this movie. He's like, what's the point? I'm like, to tell a story? He's like, well, what's your point? And I was like, I really don't know how to answer that. it's like, for some reason, it's such a simple question, but it, like, I didn't know how to answer that. I was like, what do you mean? I like to tell stories. And then thinking about it, and I just finished watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood movie like 2 days ago, and got it on Blu-ray. Such a fantastic movie.
I still haven't seen any of Brotherhood.
Watch it. It's fantastic. And, you know, anyway, so I decided to listen to the commentary of it, and Vic Mignogna gets on. Vic does Ed's voice in Full Metal Alchemist, and he tells a story about how he was doing autographs, and this girl, probably in her like early 20s, comes up and says, I want to thank you. I've been, Ed got me through a lot, and I could really relate to Ed, and blah blah blah. And Vic was going like, he's like, in his head, obviously, he's like, wow, I wonder what she's relating to, because Ed's a guy and she's clearly not a guy, so what's going on? And this girl goes around and says, I want you guys to sign it. Screw it, whatever. I don't care if my mom gets mad. And she reveals that she has a prosthetic leg. And so she's like, seeing Ed having that situation and how he was always determined and he didn't let it cripple him and prevent him from doing stuff, got her through that whole trauma. And it just hit me there. I was like, I want to tell stories that are, that fun,
touch people.
That touch people. Basically, it's like, it tells a real life event and trauma that a lot of people can relate to. It's like, while it's kind of anime and it's fun, like, oh, action, oh, we're fighting in mecha, because mecha's not realistic. Let's be honest, we love it, but a 20-meter robot on 2 legs is not realistic at all. It just wouldn't have balance. But we do it because it's a fun escape. We write, a lot of creators, especially science fiction writers, we like to write stuff because it's an escape from reality and it's fun. But at the same time, I want to write a story that's like, oh, these characters have elements of realism to them. Oh, this event, I can relate, and how these people react. It's not like, oh, they're so awesome that this doesn't hurt them, and this death does not bother them. So anyway, that's my point. It's like, I wanted to tell a story that is relatable. People can, like, oh wow, I went through that. I went through these emotions, and no one character is gonna be the same throughout their entire life. They're gonna change. A good guy might become a bad guy.
True enough. Even Battlestar Galactica proves this.
Yeah. Oh, the 3rd book's gonna be so much fun when we get to it. Seriously, I'll tell you about that later. But anyway, so that's kind of the whole thing, and that's why Amber's a bitch in the beginning, and towards the end, she is no longer a bitch. So yeah. Anyway, so then there's Greg. Like I said, Greg plays Stephen Novus. If you want to give a little introduction to Stephen Novus and what you've learned so far from voicing him and seeing the scripts and
okay.
My description
I'm gonna try not to make any Batman jokes here.
You feel free to make a Batman joke. You're allowed.
Okay, so from what I didn't know too much about Steven when I first was handed the role by Adam. He said he wanted me to voice Stephen Novus instead of Chris Priscilla. And I was like, okay, it seems interesting. And I found it like, he's Adam's brother, da-da-da-da. So the thing is, I haven't read the book yet, so I really didn't know that much about him. I kept begging Adam for weeks and weeks and like, look, I need a backstory. Just tell me something. It's like, well, our parents are dead, and he's been in the military longer. And he's pretty emotionless. So I was just like, so wait, our parents are dead, and we decided to kind of get revenge by just taking up arms in these giant 100-story tall metal walking robots, mechanized walking robots? We're Batman in space. Our parents are dead. Anyway, so pretty much when I heard about that obviously Adam's playing the Kira Yamato type, and I decided to play it as the almost kind of like the Char Aznavour type, but with a sense of like more about duty and being a soldier more important than anything else, because I also viewed Steven as a total shut-in, that especially from some of the scripts that I've read. Whereas he doesn't really he talks to his squad mates, but he doesn't really go out and socialize and whatnot. And at one point in this in the movie, you'll see that he does care, but again. He keeps to himself very much, and he's also just very focused, very just very serious. And I almost feel like there should be several scenes where he and Adam are at ends yelling at each other, going, just Stephen barking, like, you idiot, why'd you do that, or something like that.
When you get the first book, you are going to see that there are quite a few scenes like that.
Yeah, which we need to reenact. Anyway,
well, I'm just going to interrupt you for a moment with that. Actually, because there is a scene in the first book that's extremely powerful, and I'm looking forward to when we work on the audiobook for it. Some stuff happens, not going into spoilers, and
some stuff happens. That's all you need to know.
Some stuff happens, and Stephen specifically makes it so Adam can't be involved in a certain mission, and he orders him. He's like, "You're not going anywhere. You're to stay here and whatnot." So while he goes to deal with this, of course, Adam's like, "Yeah, that ain't gonna happen."
Yeah, Adam's the main character, so of course he goes off.
To be honest, there's no real single main character in this series. Like, I mean, Adam has more attention a little bit, but for the most part, it's more of an ensemble cast. It's like every character has a purpose. Every character's going through their things, and every character has their entire journey explored. So that's what's a little different, but it's hard to see it with just the first book, since the first book is more focused solely on Adam, and why the movie is focused mainly on Amber, and the second book is mainly focused on the plot and the events and whatnot. And the third book, oh man, the third book's just insane. We'll get to that one eventually. But anyway, so what happens is, Adam doesn't listen, and he goes on the mission, and he basically helps them out and gets them out of a spot. And at the end of the mission, Stephen, gets out, and Adam gets out, and they kind of go at it a bit, and it gets to the point where Adam just knocks him to the ground in frustration and anger, more or less cursing him out for how he handles certain things. And so there's a few of those scenes that are kind of emotional. So yeah, they do happen, Greg. Just not so much in the movie.
Yeah, I know. But going back to Stephen, it was really hard to find his voice because I was never satisfied. Adam can attest to this because I kept saying, like, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with this. But it took me a while to find his voice, and I can't remember how exactly I found it. I remember I kind of based it off something I'd seen, and just like someone who pretty much acted as the perfect soldier, and that's how I kind of viewed Stephen. He wants to be the perfect soldier, but at the same time, he's kind of like a Roy Mustang character, where he's kind of secretly working his way up to the top so he can change things of how they're run. I don't know if that's right in any way.
No, that's pretty much
haven't
right.
read the books at all.
No, that's pretty much what it is.
But yeah, so he's kind of like the perfect soldier, and yet he has a Roy Mustang side to him. Like he can be rebellious, and despite his cold attitude, he does actually act. There are some points in the movie where he does pull off an Adam, as I like to call it. But anyway, that's Stephen Novus. So, yeah. Captain Commander Rollins, do you want to tell us more about your character? Or wait, did she already explain it?
She kind of half-assed explained the premise.
Grossly.
Yeah.
She's a bitch. She becomes less of a bitch. Movie's over.
I mean, from what you started to record, and I know you haven't really spent a lot of time with Amber as of yet, but any interpretations on the character, and how it was for you to get into character,
I mean,
recording,
I
and
have that,
any frustration.
I know what happens. I'm just apparently not like.
Now I remember who I based off Stephen Novus as.
No, I'm not talking at all.
Okay. Ooh.
Sorry, I had an Amber moment. I kind of based it off the performance of Christian Bale in the movie Equilibrium.
Oh,
because that's actually like one of my favorite like underground movies. It's not like a phenomenal movie by any means, but it's still really enjoyable. And I love seeing Christian Bale like get really into his performances, using the kind of way he treated John Preston in that movie, where like, you know, he's perfect, he's stone faced, he's emotionless, and yet at the same time he's fighting all these human emotions and everything and trying to keep them in check. How he's constantly almost in battle with himself.
And it has absolutely nothing to do with Christian Bale playing Batman.
No, not at all.
Awesome. So there we go. It's Christian Bale.
We'll be hitting Ferocia in about 2 hours.
Oh, the bloopers for this movie are great.
Have you been to Ferocia? Then shut the hell up. I'm the goddamn Batman. In space.
Back to Amber.
Now, how do I follow that one up?
We just pretended.
Again, Stephen Novus is kind of based off John Preston
Amber
in some
Rollins.
Oh yeah, we got it. Moving on.
I think what I really draw from a lot, especially when I've had to tackle like militaristic characters in the past, and that's definitely something I was able to, I think, bring to this. I was saying what I drew from is before I went to the school I'm at now, where I'm pursuing a film degree, I got my first degree in electronic engineering. And the school I went to was like in the middle of nowhere in kind of the boonies of South Carolina. And so I was the only girl in a class of about 30 big southern white boys. So if you didn't like hunting and fishing and NASCAR, you definitely were a bit of an oddball out. So, and when I went into that degree, I really didn't have, or I think I had no idea what to expect. And when I got there, I really had to learn to hold my own against all these, very, very, very unashamed of what they were, Southern boys. And I definitely got the sense that it was kind of probably what it's like to be in the military, at least in some sense, where it tends to be a more male-dominated profession, where women are only starting to break in or don't tend to break in as much. And even though this is technically in the future, that's still something you can draw from. And just kind of this idea that Amber probably had to fight a little bit harder to not only find her place, but then maintain it. We did the one shot where they play strip poker at some point, and that definitely was kind of a good sense for developing that aspect of the character as well.
That's actually where I found that voice for Steven, like where I finally found like a voice of Steven I'm really happy with.
Couldn't find it in serious one shots, finds it playing strip poker.
Yeah, no, it shows where my priorities are.
That was such a fun one shot to do. I can talk.
It was. It really was.
I really brought that a lot, I think, to the role, and I could relate really strongly to her right off the bat. It's being in, definitely that kind of a situation. But from there, I just got the sense that she really does want to do the best she can at her job, and she really does care how it reflects on her, and as well as just the relationships she's made in there too. Like, you can tell these relationships really were important to her and made a difference. And when she loses some of her friends, it really takes its toll on her in terms of how she acts from then on. And to the point where she kind of even is willing to throw away everything she worked for, even in how she acts. And initially, she kind of even turns down the chance to be redeemed. Word I forgot earlier. So,
we're gonna be playing Gok's Redemption when you like talk each time.
So, yeah,
don't give me that idea.
That sense from her. So, and when I was at a convention, I heard Stephanie Young speak about voicing Olivier, and it is Olivier in Brotherhood, correct?
Yeah,
I think it's how that. I always thought it was Olivia, and then I heard her say Olivier. Oh, that's...
Yeah, I thought it was Olivia, too, at first.
But she was saying that since that character also was kind of a military type, that she really had to think about just like being really planted and really grounded to get that military and no one screws with me type of a character. And that's also something I was trying to draw from as well to going into the role of voicing Amber, especially as or in the last few times I've been recording for her. So
the irony is that Amber was originally developed based on Olivia.
Really? Okay, so I hit the nail on the head there.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Olivier in FMA Brotherhood in the manga was a fantastic character, and I love the way that she was portrayed and her attitude overall. And I was like, I need a character.
I need to write a character.
That's basically what I said. I was like, well, it's like I had the idea for Amber already, and I was like, how do I want her personality to be? And I was like, okay, I like this. Originally, I was thinking a female version of Steven, but then I was like, no. I was like, no, definitely
then maybe
not.
she wouldn't have become
So,
a non-bitch yet, you know.
Anyway. Yeah. So that was
I'm sorry.
that, and no, it's cool. So no, it's like that's awesome how people find the voices for things, and you know how you find it. And I play Adam Novus in the movie. As Greg mentioned, you know, their parents were killed when they were younger and kind of orphan things, and you know they were already kind of involved in this company Genesis that is like the weapons manufacturer of this time period, and they handle all frame development and such and such. So they were already involved through their family. So when their parents died, they were kind of taken over. You know, watch guardianship happen through the company. And Steven broke out on his own and joined the military, and Adam was stuck in...
Because I'm awesome.
Because he's awesome. And Adam was stuck, you know, joining their intern program with his friends. And so the first book, Adam's like 16 in the first book, and he's an intern for Genesis and working with his friends. And they're just, you know, they're just doing part readings on frame stuff, and, you know, he wants to be a frame pilot, and they have VR training sessions, and he does them often, and him and his brother had one. His brother kicked his ass, and then he wanted to, you know, there was the whole rivalry thing, like, oh, I want to be just as good or better and whatnot. And he eventually gets his chance to join the military, and he does, and stuff goes wrong during the exam. I won't go into it because that's a major spoiler for the book. But stuff happens at the exam that changes his perspective entirely, and he kind of goes from this carefree dreamer to a character really kind of bent, like struggling with anger and frustration and regret. And so the first book really covers his journey through that and how to get through it, and the results of some of his actions and decisions, and that's what leads into this movie. In this movie, Amber's going through this whole thing, and you know she's very angry at the beginning of the book, and you know she's very attached, but doesn't want to admit that she was attached to some of her team, and vice versa. So when Adam sees her, he kind of scoffs at the idea initially because he's not 100% sure the weight of the situation. He's just like, "Wow, this girl's a bitch. What's her problem?" And as he learns, you know, what happened, his attitude towards her changes. So even though Amber was created for the movie, and
that's it.
No, not really, because then it's like, as I was revising, and still am revising the second book, she was added to the book, and now she's like officially part of canon. So the movie's, yeah. So, so a lot happens with that, and so he starts looking at her in a different way, like, oh wow, okay, she's going through something that I experienced, and how can I, you know, help her get through it and prevent her from making the mistakes that I made. So he's kind of a little more brash in this movie, he's kind of got his arrogance back again after successfully doing what he did in the first book. He's kind of gotten a little chip on his shoulder because now like the entire military knows who he is, and a lot of people know who he is and who Steven are. You know, their team, Steven's team in this movie are like extremely well known and is viewed as the type of team that are going to be able to get any situation handled with no problem. You know, these are the people you want running a sortie. So that's what this whole book is more of a redemption movie. This whole movie is a redemption movie. So it's got action, you know, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. The action's going to be awesome. It's a bitch to animate, but it'll be awesome when it's done. And
it already is pretty awesome.
And this is just all the animation.
I mean, you got the attention of some big name voice actors out there for it.
Yeah, I do.
Not going to say who they are.
You'll hear them. You'll hear one of them in the trailer.
Yes.
If you guys can point out who it is, then awesome. If not, I'm not saying who it is.
I'm not saying who it is either because I know who it is. But if the audience can figure it out who it is,
good for them.
Kudos to them.
You know, but it's not like they know. It's like, hey, can you do this? Yeah, sure. It's not like they know. You know, it's stuck in their head. Like, oh, I did this one thing for this person. But I will say, I got a cameo where he actually goes to act instead of like just doing random comedy stuff, and he was very appreciative of. He really enjoyed being able to play a character like this and to act. I was like, that's awesome. Made my day. It's fantastic. So anyway, you'll hear him in the trailer. But all the animation you see in the trailer is just initial stuff. It's all subject to change because it's just I want to get this out to start, you know, getting attention to it. We're going to be starting up our Indiegogo or Kickstarter in January. That's going up. I'll be promoting the movie at SAC Anime in Sacramento if anyone's going to be around. We might have a panel on voice acting. That's not 100% sure. I know it's in at the moment, but we'll see what happens when we get closer. But in January, the Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign's going up. We want to raise money to be able to pay voice actors, to be able to pay our music composer, to get new equipment for the other animators and storyboard artists and sound designer, some new equipment so they're able to handle all this stuff and we can release a project on a higher professional level, on the most professional level that we possibly can. I mean, it's still an indie project, and so the animation is not going to be like movie industry quality as much as I would love it to. It's just we don't have the funds for it. It's a labor of love, you know. I'm mainly doing it for fun, to get it out there, to release it, and so we're gonna need everyone's support for it, and we're gonna have some really cool rewards too. You know, original art, signed stuff, voice memos, chances to have characters in the actual animated series, or appear in the second movie because there will be another movie. I already have it plotted out.
Yay!
It's gonna be a good one actually, but we'll get to that one later. So that'll be up in January. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the trailer because it was a bitch to do.
Well, I certainly did, especially watching the evolution of it.
Oh, dude, the trailer's not even gonna look the same as what you've seen.
Well, yeah, but I'm just seeing the trailer keep on getting built up and built up from what it was to what it is now. It's just, it really is amazing to see how.
Yeah,
we're stroking your ego here, Adam. Be happy.
Well, it's. I mean, the trailer hasn't been released yet as we're recording this. I was animating it earlier, almost done. It's gonna be about a 2-minute trailer, so it's not showing all the 7 minutes that I've shown in those work in progress stuff. But this trailer has more scenes that were not shown in those work in progress things, because a lot of those work in progress animations have scenes that are not actually in the movie. That they were scenes. There's actually scenes from the third book in that trailer, in that work in progress. Scenes from the second book are in it, and a lot of those scenes are actually going to be in the movie, but like in the credits and stuff. But so this actual trailer is going to have a little more stuff that hasn't been shown yet for obvious reasons. But yeah, we have a phenomenal cast of voice actors. A lot of people are professionals that are just going in. Some have a good amount of professional dub credits under their belt. I have a great composer. You know, Project Trinity does a fantastic job his music has consistently grown since he started really doing stuff, and he's doing more movie quality music now, and it's great. Yeah, no, I was really blessed to get as many talented people that I could to like this project enough to do it. And I will say the one thing, and Greg, I want your opinion on this. It's especially when it comes to an animated project and an independent one or something like that, because you'll see a lot of us use this website, the Voice Acting Alliance, to look for jobs or projects to get into, and a lot of them, especially animations, a lot of them have the tendency to be like, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna send it to Cartoon Network and look to get a pilot and whatnot. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of them don't really happen.
Unfortunately, that is true. I mean, a lot of people get some, they get really high expectations and they dream big, and there's nothing wrong with that, but some people dream a little too big and they bite off more than they can chew.
And then you have me, who dreams to the point where I'm going to make a Tsunami promo, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun little project, and it's a dream of mine to be in something that's on Toonami one day, or even on TV someday, or even in a video game.
Oh, we'll make it happen.
Just to start.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know Greg had an opportunity to be in a project that seemed very promising, and I thought it was very promising.
Well, obviously I did too, because that's why I auditioned for it.
The animation looked like it was
I actually wasn't cast for the role originally. Remember, I went to the producer's husband, or fiance at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah, no, you did tell me that, but then you got it.
Yeah. Then
funny,
he was going back to the army or something like that, and she gave it to me.
Funny story about Greg. A lot of his main characters that he ends up playing, he didn't get originally.
For Dreamcatcher?
Dreamcatcher was one of them.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher was one of them, and this one was the other.
Shattered Heaven, you weren't originally this character.
Yeah, all the characters that I've been the best at are characters I didn't have originally.
It goes to show you that even a lot of times, aspiring voice actors, definitely listen to this, audition for anything. Even if it's a character you don't necessarily want, get the experience, audition for it.
I mean, in Dreamcatcher, I was supposed to play the character that Sam Half voices.
He's a fun character.
Yeah, then something happened with the original voice of Gabriel, and so it was given to me. Yeah.
And so it's a good thing. You never know what's going to happen. And that's why I'm lucky, because, here I'm doing a 2-hour movie, and we're going to put this on DVD and ship it and whatnot, and, people jumped on board with it. Granted, I knew them for a while, so I kind of proved that I'll get stuff done. And a lot of them were like, hey, do this, okay. So this didn't really have that many auditions for it, but, so it's like, I, as an animator, producer, and writer, I'm obligated to get this done. I cannot allow myself to get sidetracked or get like, oh, this is too hard, I'm going to quit. I can't.
Yeah, because you're too stubborn.
That too. I'm extremely stubborn. I have to see everything to the end. Just might take some time, but... So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the trailer, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this little behind-the-scenes type of interview thing for the movie. Get to know some of the cast and the characters that they play, and a little premise of what the movie's actually going to be about. Because I know trailers can show little things here and there and give you an idea, but it might not be a full picture type of idea. But at least, with this, you might have a better understanding of the movie, and it might be something you'd want to actually see happen and get done, and wouldn't mind saying, hey, I'm going to contribute, and just drop like $5 or something, when the campaign goes up, to see it happen.
I'll be dropping a good amount of bank on this.
Because it's like any donations we get is mainly to get a high quality product to everyone. I want to at conventions get cosplayers to dress up in characters and help market.
Yeah, which means that I'm probably going to.
Which means that he's going to be doing it, and I have some other people that'll do it, and
I can also talk to a couple of other people I know.
Yeah,
that
please do that. That'd be great. And it's like I want to give them money for it. I want to.
Yeah.
And I want to say, here, you're doing an awesome thing. You're helping me market. Maybe you might enjoy it too. Maybe you might enjoy the content.
Well, you're helping us, because let me point out something else to the people here. Archer's also done in Flash.
Yeah.
There's a lot of series that are even on Adult Swim that are done in Flash. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast these days.
It's the cheapest way of animation. And
yeah, that too.
But a lot of them they'll do tweening. We're not doing tweening. This is traditional animation in a sense being done digitally. We're drawing out every frame, every movement. We're not making little motion graphics and moving them at an angle or using bones or anything. We're doing this hand drawn, frame by frame. I like it. It's more comfortable for me. But no, yeah, and so hey, if any cosplayers are listening to this and like the trailer or whatnot, drop me a line. I'll have my contact information. Definitely would love to get cosplayers in on this and going to conventions and and once this budget happens and we get donations hopefully and make the mark, then I can figure out, okay, cool, I'm going to give you guys this money and blah blah blah, because it'll be fun. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot going on with this. This is my baby, more or less. So
well, now it's our baby.
Aw, we're parents.
We're Batman parents.
Gosh. So yeah, I'm
Bruce Wayne. You're Jason Todd. No, I mean Dick Grayson.
I don't think so. Actually, wait.
I still wish I could see a video of that when you spit out all that Dr. Pepper.
Okay, I have to explain that. For the movie, we're gonna have some extras and some voice actors are, recording themselves, so video of them in the recording process. Greg was the first one to do it. I'm gonna do it
at Adam's behest.
I'm gonna do it too as well. Hopefully, other voice actors will do it because it's cool because it gives you an idea of like, oh wow, this is how a lot of people record that don't have studio access, but they still sound professional and their quality is still great. So I'm watching this. He sends me his video. I'm like, all right. I'm kind of watching and listening to it while I'm animating, working on this trailer. And he gets to this one spot where he's like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about our brother. It's like one night I dressed him up like Jason Todd and the Joker killed him. And that came out of nowhere. And I was not prepared for it. So I'm drinking Dr. Pepper and eating food at the moment. I literally spit out the Dr. Pepper on my Cintiq. I'm like, you bastard. Nothing happened. My Cintiq works perfectly fine. But I was like, oh, I was not expecting that. So, well played, sir. Well played.
It's funny because I've made that joke before, and yet somehow he was not prepared for it.
No, you never made the Jason Todd joke before. Not to me.
No, I have.
No.
Well, then maybe you weren't listening hard enough. You never listen.
I listen plenty. So yeah, look forward to that, and I'll be putting up videos on. I do have a new YouTube. I'll be linking that as well. That's more professional. It's more the studio based YouTube. So look out for that. Look out for other animations. We have other animated web series that are going to be coming up once our animators get some of them done. And whenever Natalie decides to put out Elysium again in her completed form, that'll be promoted as well, and that'll be available to listen to. Yeah.
Yay!
And then whenever Greg...
And then hopefully Dreamcatcher Season 2.
Yeah, whenever that happens, but Kathy's too stubborn to officially join my studio or our studio, whatnot, which is fair enough because she's mainly doing midnight audio theater, so that's fine. She helps out when she can. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff's coming up. There are projects for a web manga coming up as well. That I'm not going into that yet because that's being ironed out, and there are other animated movies being fleshed out for after Midnight Twilight's done. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. So anyway, that's an hour, a lot longer than I expect that to be, but hey, it was fun. So all right, Greg, Natalie, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having
more
us.
or less. Yeah, these things are fun to do.